Hello and welcome back to Torment, Tides of Numenera. So, Tibir joined us in order to save his buddy called Rick, who's getting killed by a dude, a naked dude, who's killing him with his snake. I'm making it up. Anyway, and looks like we have two ways to do it. Apparently, two ways to do it. The way he wants to do it. It is a man named Briss is slowly being executed in Circus Minor. His friend Tibir asked me to help save him. Tibir has a plan to forge a stay of execution, but he needs my help to get the materials for the forgery and deal with the authorities. So I have few days to save him, perhaps. Or maybe just rile up the crowd. It was suggested that this might be an option. Maybe we can do that. This woman stands at the back of the crowd, arms crossed and eyes cool as watches the slow execution. Unlike the others, she's also watching the people in the crowd. She shakes her head, depressing. If you find it depressing, why are you watching it? I was just walking by. I don't know why I stopped, really. Something in her manner makes it feel like there is more to it than that, however. You stop because you want to do something. You want to be the one to make the difference. No. No. I'm just gonna appeal to her good heart. You stop because you are a good person at heart. It moved you. Maybe it did, but what does it matter? It can't be stopped. At least not by nobody like me. Persuasion. I've seen you watching the crowd. You outnumber the levies 4-1. They just need a leader. Oh, that's not gonna be really good. Oh, he's good at this. 90%. No, we're going with that. Success. She cringes, shivering. A leader? I've never known. You're right. That's why I'm here. Somebody has to do something. Why shouldn't that somebody be me? Why shouldn't I be the hero for once? She steps forward. I'm ready! You managed to rile up the unmoon woman. Scan thoughts. Could I? Something about this man makes me feel like I could. Let's end this! Okay. Horrified man? How about the horrified man? Probably the excited man. The man continues to stare at the execution. This practice is an abomination. It should be forbidden. The horror of it will deter others from the crime. Did I just rile him up? Utter nonsense. Punishment for bad behavior won't change a man. Reward for good behavior is far more effective. It's what really matters to the authorities. This is nothing more than a spectacle, an amusement for the masses. If I had any courage... What if I join you? Together we could give the city authorities what they deserved. He looks at you frightened. Punish the punishers? Are you saying we should interrupt the execution? You said the punishment should not be allowed. Did you mean it? Could you just stand by when injustice is the law? The man seems to shrink in his skin. My friend, I'm a coward. I've always been, but you're right. If a man does not stand by his beliefs, what is he? Swallows the nods. I will do it for justice. Something about this man. He's right. I can do something. Let him go. Let's rile up the crowd. Intrigued woman? Maybe she's too. Okay. The woman continues to listen to the ravings of the condemned man. I must remember every word so I can find the insight in them later. What if I told you he was innocent? That would be terrible, wouldn't it? But his words seem so wise. Even if that were true, it is wisdom gained through another man's pain. Can that even be called wisdom? Can you just stand by and let an innocent man die just to gain wisdom? She purses her lips. I don't know. That would make me appear heartless, wouldn't it? To tell the truth, I still want to hear his words. Wow. She spreads her hands. Does it matter? He's going to die no matter what I do. And what if what he says could be important? Persuasion. As important as innocent man's life, help me save him. Wisdom can be gained without harming another. Can we do it? What? Did she just brush us off? Looks like it. Excited man? Can we just talk to the spectator? No. We can only talk to the named ones. It's gonna be hard to. This man watches the execution with fevered eyes. He shakes his fist. Traitor! Traitor to the city! As you approach him, he gives you a savage grin. Nothing better than seeing a traitor die, aye? Do you truly care if he's a traitor, or do you just like watching men tortured to death? He snarls at you. How dare you? It's justice that's important to me. Protecting my city. Interesting. But I think you'd be interested in making sure that the real traitor gets caught. And isn't justice always handed out equally in Sagus Cliffs? I bet the rich never pay for their crimes around here. He pauses. You got a point there. I never seen any highsiders spill their guts on the platform or heard any of them being accused of treason. His eyes narrow. What do you know that I don't? This poor fool took the fall for somebody else. That's a mockery of Sega's pride. Should we free him? We should free him. Okay, I'm the best deceptive around here. Oh, no, no, we are not. Well, maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna go with 90%. I have a lot of points left. Success. The man grinds his teeth thinking, then finally nods. Aye! Us small fish are always taking the fall, but not this time. Free the prisoner! Intrigued woman. I don't think there's anything to understand. They're just raving innocent man. Maybe. We just haven't listened long enough. Anything he says might be important. Persuasion. This didn't work before. As important as an innocent man's life, help save him. Wisdom can be gained without harming another. Okay. He's the best at this. Wow, by a long shot. Wow, okay. Okay, never mind that. We need to go for max points here. Maybe we need to rest up after this. Success. The woman hangs her head. You're right. I've put my curiosity above a man's life. I will do this. Four people you talked into helping Risk start chanting. Free the prisoner! Free the prisoner! Let him go! Let him go! Squared on by their passion, or maybe just bored, the rest of the crowd begins to pick up the chant. Let him go! Let him go! They advance menacingly on the levies and the overseer. The levies edge back, their normally pleasant expression turning into uncertain frowns. The overseer points directly at you. I saw what you did, you rebel rouser. This is your doing. Well, I'm not risking my life to intervene in the fate of a worthless piece of belly trash. If you want him, take him. The overseer signals the levies. I'll make the prisoners deaf and retreat. He isn't worth our blood. At his order, one of the levies takes out a device like a circular mirror and squeezes its frame. The mirror spins, flashing shards of light across the deaf and the umbilical viscera. It is wrapping around Riss, and all of it disintegrates. Soon Riss stands alone on the platform as reddish dust swirls away from him.
I'll remember that.
You got lost, Mr. Snake Man. There! Cries the overseer to the crowd. Satisfied? With that, he and the levies turn and march away as the crowd surrounds the platform and cheers. Yes! As the levies march off and the crowd disperses, Riz steadies himself, not quite recovered from his ordeal. Finally, he raises his head and focuses on you. If you're the one who got me out of that nightmare, thank you. But where's that? His eyes settle on Tibir. There you are, you slippery bastard. No, where's the money? If I went through that hell for nothing, that bastard left me out to dry, I know it. Riz chokes with emotion. A whole day, Tibir. I spilled my guts up there for a whole day. It could have been a lot worse. I rallied up the crowd just to make it the fastest. If it didn't work, we just had to go with plan B. Steps back, spreading his hands. Yeah, about the money. You see, Riz, I was hoping to get a reward for turning in the fellow who sold us that brandy without telling us about its secrets, but... But? Riz snarls. There's always a but when it comes to money, isn't there? I should have known. You only said you'd pay me so I wouldn't squeal on you, and you only saved my skin to save your own. He smacks his fists together. No, am I going to have to fight through your friend to get you, or are you going to step out from behind him and take it like a man? Calm down, both of you. Riz, tell it from the beginning. Riz spits, then wipes his lips. There isn't much to tell. Captain Silvertongue here talked me into a dirty job, then disappeared like an abacus, and left me holding the bag when it all went sour. Oh, Riz. Can you blame me for running when I had the chance? You would have done the same. And besides, if I hadn't, we would have been both sentenced to die and no one to free either of us. Scant thoughts, lucky that. If my tattooed friend hadn't come along, we would both be executed in any case. Tattooed friend? He stabs a finger at Tibir's face. You only wanted to free me because you knew that be the next on the block once Devourer ate me. Yeah. How would the Devourer of Wrongs know that Tibir was involved? The Dendro Hooer, says Riz, consume our memories with our flesh. They know everything by the time they finished eating us, and Tibir knew I'd have plenty of memories of him, didn't you, you coward? What the Dendro Hooer? Cultists to eat human flesh to gain the wisdom of the dead. Riz shivers. The city's been using them as post-mortem judges for years. What was the job? Tibir said we were transporting black market booze to Mura Julius, but he didn't tell me that he hidden state secrets in one of the bottles using some liquid Numenera trick, which turned out a slap on the wrist crime into a damn death sentence. Death sentence? Tibir says with an uneasy grin. You're alive, aren't you? I've told him eventually. Ignorance was supposed to keep him safe. Yeah. I would have told him eventually. So he did know about it, Tibir. He glares at Tibir from under lower brows. That's as maybe, but you certainly seem to know where the levies were going to come calling. He looks at you. The council somehow got wind of the deal and came after us. Funny how I was only one home when they knocked on the door. The Devourer would have found you guilty, Tibir. Is that true? As far as it goes, he would have learned about me if he had eaten Riz, and I did manage to escape the levies when they showed up looking for us, but it didn't abandon you, lad. Put his hands to his heart. Riz, I escaped the levies and saved you from the Devourer of Wrongs because I love you and did not want to see you die. You have to believe me. Escaping the levies was just good luck. That much is true. Do I? Riz says, cracking his knuckles. I'm with Riss on this, Tibir. You should make amends to him. He's the one who has suffered here. Yeah. That's right, Riss snarls. And you can start by giving me my share of the spoils. Riss, you don't know what you're talking about. I never got paid. I promise you. This ain't over, you self-serving bastard. Riss jabs a finger in Tibir's face. Hide behind your friend if you like, but he won't keep you safe forever. You're dead, Tibir. Do you hear me? Dead. Damn. We might need to rest up because Tibir needs to gain some points. Oh, let's just save. That was fast. So man, I should save the guy. Prata. I was merchant. Traveler. Kanadu. El Ginto.
It's a plan.
Is it? Jeharam? Let's talk with that guy.
I'm ready.
Prata?
Thanks
What the hell?
for helping me free Riss, lad. Not that the little ingrate appreciated it.
Yeah. So, was it like Riss said? You only freed him so you wouldn't get implicated? I'd be a liar if I said that wasn't part of it, he says, looking at his boots. But you really... But I really do care for the boy, and wouldn't wish him harm for all the world. And I could have run. Choose his lip. I could have. Probably not far though. Thanks. Do you think he will make good on his threats? Should we be watching our backs? I wouldn't worry about it, he says, clutching. He doesn't have as many friends as he thinks he does. I was practically the only one. Unless he makes friends of my enemies, best not to think about that. It won't happen. I'm afraid I'm inclined to believe Riss's side of the story more than yours. You're a good friend. Riss is being a fool. Ah, thank you for that, he says, avoiding your eyes. It's refreshing to be believed. It'll work out eventually, hopefully after I'm gone. I didn't say this because I'm an idiot. I wanted him to feel that I trust him, so he shouldn't betray me. I don't believe him, and I don't trust him, but I want him to act like he's a trustworthy person. Okay, I don't know. That's it. Tell me about yourself. So you're a captain? Retired, he says, raising his hands in surrender. I've been on my own, more or less, for a handful of decades now. He winks. Still having a captaincy under your belt opens doors, lifts dresses, and drops trousers, so I tend to wave it around wherever I can. What's your story? Oh, the usual. Farmer joins one war or another. He doesn't die, but gets a sound spanking by the world until he learns to spark it back. I want to hear more about your background. I don't blame you, he declares, clapping you on the shoulder. Well, but I warn you, I never had a handle on what people consider too much information. Smile crinkles corners of his eyes. Never look for one either. Claps his hands. Go on, ask your questions. I got answers for you, everyone. Tell me about your life as a soldier. Well, I wasn't the best or the worst, he says with a shrug. But I started at the bottom. Fell out the side and ended up a gallows class of my own. It's not an easy life, being a mercenary, but you try to fight for causes you believe in and avoid the striking blows that aren't deserved. And you try and not fail at both while the realities of life batter you into new shapes, change you. Some of the best days of my life, those, despite the tears. That's what he thinks. You said that the realities of life change. How? Not one for light questions, are you? He rubs his hands together. My father raised me, to be honest. Well, honestly, works on the farm. Animals don't lie too much, as a rule. But as a soldier, he squints. Put it like this: first night in the camp, I was mugged by my sergeant and left for dead. All because I thought an honest face meant an honest heart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's the honest one you have to watch out for. So I've adapted my approach over the years. I reward kindness with kindness, cruelty with justice, and foolishness with object lessons on the ways of the world. He winks, but there is something somber there. Everyone has their lessons to learn in this life. Best that your teachers are kind men, I always say. Who have you fought for? Whew, he says with a misty look at the air. I fought for a number of causes over the years. My first fight was alongside the rugged cattleman of the plowshares, trying to keep the slave families of the Sagus Protectorate from getting their hands on the bird folk's grazing land. Shrugs. But I've been all over the map, and all off the edges too, having good times and bad. And with the Ailu rebels and the White Company, even fought in the endless battle for a while, until I figured out my commander was lying to me. Walked away from a hefty purse on that one, I'll tell you, but it was the right thing to do. He winks. And the safest, and the sanest. Should have left even earlier, pay or no pay. And thinks that. Can you tell me about the endless battle? Of course I can, he says, but for a moment it seems he won't. His mouth works, but no words come out. It was more a nightmare than a war, he says at last. We marched out one morning to take a certain hill, and we took it, he winces. Then a shivery little ripple crossed the battlefield, and we were back on the march, heading for the same hill. Only this time, the other side routed us. I lost this arm. He shows it to you, smooth and unmarked. You'd think our commander would have given us the rest of the war off, but no! His eyes go hard and grim. She kept making us fight until the waves of time died down and we took the damn hill and held it. He smiles wearily. I'm certain I died a few times there myself, but here I am still, all and handsome as ever. What's the point of the endless battle? The fighting itself is pointless. All those lads and lasses dying for a cause centuries old. Smirks sadly, his gaze distant. Now, I know I just described any war, but we both know that certain people make a tidy profit from bloodshed on a grand scale. And the endless battle, well, it's endless. And that makes it endlessly profitable. I have other questions about you if you don't mind. Ask away, lad. I wanna hear you about your past, perhaps? Tell me about your first battle. He says. I nearly missed it. As I said, my sergeant knocked me out, stripped me naked, and hit the road with his friends and all the best weapons and armor in a stolen wagon. He clunks his tongue fondly. I woke up with a throbbing head and blood in my eyes. To the new sergeant screaming that I best throw on a sack and grab a stick because the protectorate was coming. I can't recall much about the battle itself, lots of screaming and most of it mine. I remember hitting a number of heads and with that stick, and I lost the sack at some point. No, no one seemed prepared to comment. What with all the dying? At any rate, the Protectorate kicked our teeth and drove us back to a little herd town at the far eastern end of the plowshares. Even said the memory. Well, the herd folk there, they were doing they were doing all they could for us, feeding us, binding our wounds, because, well, we'd been defending their town, hadn't we? He spreads his hands, trying to, at any rate, but they didn't know that the Protectorate had also stolen all their anine for provisions, the whole herd, and was headed south with them. Come winter, those folks were going to starve to death. How the herd got stolen is a different tale. Villains on all sides, we were. It shifts uncomfortable. My commander wasn't going to tell him, but I couldn't stand it. We were meant to be saving of those people, and here we were robbing them just as surely as the Protectorate had. So that night, the new sergeant and I borrowed 2 rasters and the sonic punch and flew south until we found the stolen anine. We screamed even the herd until they bolted and chased them all the way back north. Shakes his head. What a young hero I was. I was such a fool. We really got knocked out of the sky a dozen times by the fire throwers, but we were sure that once we got that in the way, they wouldn't dare turn back for them. They knew we were being reinforced the next morning, you see. He chuckles. Ovi got demoted for that stunt, and we both got a week in the brig. Besides, but those herfolk were damn grateful. Winks. Some of them several times. How about one of those good times you mentioned? No. I want to hear about some of your mercenary work. Too many stories in that sack to tell in a single sitting, he says, scratching his head. But I'll stick to one with the least amount of back alley murders. It's too lovely a day for grim tales of bloodshed. Skins at the air. It was just after I'd left the military life. I was desperate to make a name for myself as a mercenary. Too desperate, as it turned out. I was drinking in my favorite bar and felt a soft touch on my shoulder. It was a lady. Navarine nobility, she said, and in need of a bodyguard. Groaning, he covers his eyes. And that body, those eyes, I accepted on the spot, of course. She tried telling me why she needed me, something about assassins at a ball, but I was too busy watching her hips shift beneath that dress. Followed her around that ball with barely a thought in my hand. Then through the party, she excuses herself and comes back in different clothes. He chuckles, though there's no humor in it. She tells me that to anyone who asks, I'm her husband, Baron Gusk of Navarine, and that we have to leave immediately. We worked our way toward the door, but we're stopped by the host of the ball and phalanx of city guards, and they demanded to know who I was. Grimaces, terrified, but right on cue, I say, I'm Baron Gusk of Gavraline. And this is my knife. He shakes his head. 30 days in the blocks as an accessory. Turned out she'd stolen a fortune in living gems from an upstairs bedroom. He wasn't any kind of noble, just a common beautiful thief. He thinks, and the next time I saw her, she was dead. Life isn't fair for anyone, and that's the truth. How about those good times you mentioned? Oh, I had plenty, he says, running his teeth over his lip. More good times than bad. Even as a gallows glass But of course, there is one that stands out. But he isn't smiling now, despite his words. My partner at the time, my old sergeant, and I heard a scrap brewing on the border between two mercenary armies over territory. Scratches his mustache. We got there and knew it was going to be a bloodbath. The moment someone went for a weapon. They'd been rivals for long. See, it's a sad thing to see professional killers turn violent. Now, I was thinking we should get back on the road and as far from the fight as possible, but my partner, he was a tinkerer. Soft gleam rising in his eyes. He had these two rings he was messing with at the time, claimed they could link minds. He wanted to plant one on each side, you know, get them seeing things from the other's point of view. I couldn't talk him out of it. He snuck around in the dark of night, cursing and thumping, set up the damn things in the rival camps, and ran back to a distant hill to watch. He rubs his eyes. And all night long we heard strange things, sort of. Wet sounds, you know. Laughter, happy singing. Runs his hands through his hair. Then dawn came. There was a different kind of war going on in the mud below. Flashes a grin. The kind where everyone wins. Turns out that once they got a taste of each other's thoughts, they found out they hadn't wanted to fight each other after all. Not exactly. And that was Ovi for you. Finishes with a touch of smile. Always bringing out the truth in people. Better man than I deserve, certainly. Thanks. Who's Ovi? Huh? He says, eyebrows climbing. Oh. Let his name slip, did I? Ovi was the old sergeant I mentioned. First, we were partners, then more than that by a long shot. He sinks his thumbs beneath his belt. Well, you know things. They change. Grinning, Tibir shakes his head. Well, I haven't thought about that in many years. And that was why I haven't thought about him. Too hard. Actually, let's talk about something else. I have a feeling you've been holding back details about Avign. That's a fair conclusion, he says, chewing his lip. I don't like thinking about him, if I'm being honest. Looks down, visibly marshalling his words. I always had an opinion about my livelihood. Did Ovi, says at last. I felt like I was disappointing him with every breath I took. He turned all of my victories sour with his little sigh. So I broke it off as clean as I could, and I wished him well. He takes a deep breath. Last I heard he was in the Bloom of all places, so he's probably not doing as well as I hoped back then. I should try and see him again. I prefer not, says, but he's avoiding your eyes. I don't much like pulling the past out to look at it. As far as he knows, I'm dead. Let's leave it there. Hardly truth, but not a lie either. I don't know. Let's talk some other time. Maybe we can Prata? Prata, what you got? In the shadows cast by the folds of his this merchant's cowl, you glimpse hints of verdant chitin and amber mandibles erupting from pale human flesh. Her voluminous robes cannot hide the fact that her movements are off, as if too many joints inhabit too little space. But her voice is warm, tumbling a flood of spoken thoughts and impulses. A fair attention to you. Warm, isn't it? Can do a lady voice. Something begins humming in one of her many pockets, and Her brilliant, multifaceted eyes flicker toward an invisible point in the distance. Well, not as warm as it could be, but this is the warmest minute of the week by a considerable margin. She trails off, but the hum continues. Oh, you have one of those tattoos too. Anyway, can I interest you in some prime artifacts, dusty relics, Numenera of uncertain origin? It looks like the pale woman. No, you're right, Birdie. Not looks, smells. Is she crazy? So I look like the pale woman? I never visited this city before. Can you tell me about it? No, she laughs, and it sounds like a cloud of insects taking flight. I'll do better than that. Tell me anything about this place that worries you, and I'll make it better. That's a guarantee. We do love to help, don't we, Rhonda? She's crazy, right? Are there any dangerous areas I should avoid? Not at all, Prada says, waving her claws around. Claws at you. I heard so many rumors about how the underbelly was rowled by vicious thugs, but when I went down there to make a trade, no one such as glared at me. He hesitates. Of course, they were probably worried I was going to snip their heads off, but the underbelly is fascinating and worth the risk most everywhere is. Do you? Tibir says, leaning over to look at her shouldered hands. Snip heads off? I mean, you don't seem the type. I might be, Bretta says brightly. I never had to find out. Tibir leans back out of snipping range with a fixed, polite smile. What part of the city should I see first? All of it. Take it from me. Everything is worth seeing. Even the boring bits. Take your time. Talk to everyone you meet and keep your eyes open. I'm still finding my way. Think I could get a discount on your goods? Well, she says, looking momentarily uncertain. It's like watching a lone cloud passing across the summer sky. You know what? I'll give you a discount on everything I carry. From now until the last star and the sky collapses. Or, you know, one of us dies. Can't do a thing about that. Clearly, she laughs, clearly unworried by the prospect. Let's talk about something else. I'm looking for someone who can repair a complex machine. Can you help? You appear to be transforming into an insect? What? I know, isn't it fantastic? I think it might be caused by the intermingling fields of the Numenera I use to organize my thoughts. Or the ones I'm selling. Maybe all of them. You never know how a variety of ciphers will interact with each other. They're such fun. What? Why do you think you're transforming again? Tell me about the Numenera you used to organize your thoughts. Oh, it's simple, sort of. Rata pulls a free tiny Numenera from her robes, a buzzing bird figure, green music box, and a circular spring. I have too many thoughts. If I tried to hold them all in one brain, I'd just stand and drool, you know. So each of these have slightly different purpose. Which one do you want to hear about? The bird figurine. Birdie. Pretty simple. If I'm running with a great thought I don't have time to complete, I shunt it into her so I can pick it back up later. So it does make everything smell like berries. She does make everything smell like berries, though. The music box? Jade Box is a tough old lady. If I'm rolling with a more complex line of thinking, I bring her up and she chumps the individual ideas and feeds them back to me. I try to use her as little as possible because she gives me headaches. No, what's the opposite? Headaches? Rather frowns. Anyway, they are worse than headaches because you can't go around thinking everyone's alright. It's bad for you. Health. Okay. The circular spring? That's Rhonda. She's a bit scary. I can't shunt a bunch of thoughts into her, but she doesn't process them. She just gives them back to me. Slightly changed and infinitely better than when they went in. Prada leans in conspiratorially. I tried not to use her much. She whimpers. It feels like cheating. Would I like to buy one? Actually, I would buy one. Prada flushes. I hate to say no, but I've had them since I was little. They are practically family. Okay, let's talk about something else. I'm looking for someone who can repair a complex machine. Can you help? Oh, I love to! Complex machines are my favorite, but no, I shouldn't. I'm really behind on my work orders this month. This may surprise you, but I'm very easily distracted. She shrugs beneath her robes. You're better off with someone else, sorry. Are you sure you can help me fix something? Quadruple sure, she says cheerfully. You said someone else had my tattoo, who? Oh, right, a pale lady. She wanted me to fix an artifact of hers, but I couldn't make any sense of it. That is rare, believe me. I felt sorry for her, to tell you the truth. She seemed sad, like she'd lost the something that was never going to get it back. And thinking, and she wouldn't say what she'd lost when I asked her. I know I could have helped. I wouldn't use that discount we talked about. What? Prata? Do I even have stuff to buy with? Oh, okay, I can buy a spray flash. This just opens up the shop. Aja? This couple stands together, their shared gaze fixed away from you. No words pass between them. Instead, they share a silent language of tenderness. Their bodies turn softly toward each other, forming a private space between them. His hand reaches for hers, and without looking, she claims it. Still looking past you, they smile together. His curving line carved in oak, hers as unabashed and radiant as a lantern on a starless night. He's so beautiful. I do hope we are a good home for him. So it looks like they adopted someone. Kid. Paja, turning, you see the object of their affection. Tension. A young boy darting between the stalls and playing in the dust. Each distant, exhilarated shout widens their respective smiles and tightens their grip on each other. Is that your son? Yes! He says firmly, still watching the boy, but a very stillness has spilled into his posture. She swats his shoulder, and there's more punch than playfulness in it. Not yet, she says. We adopted Jerem, and we're waiting to see how he feels about that. Aren't we, Kelnor? His eyes flicker stubbornly, but he does not respond. Go away, go away. Go away? Go away who? Why did you decide to adopt? Smooth, kid. That's just the kind of thing people like talking about with strangers. Oh, I'm not embarrassed, Paja says, eyes gleaming. We love telling the story. Well, Kanor and I, we've been together for how long? Years, Kanor says, a glint in his eye. What? Calendar is the guy? Damn. Let's see how long this one lasts. Calendar? What the hell? And we knew we wanted children, so we tried and tried. We tried a lot. Some days I barely had time to put my clothes on before Cal took them off again. Nice. Yes. I love how the first option is, I think I've heard enough. Interesting, go on. I mean, like, I don't feel good about any of this choice. Okay, yes. Fine. I'm like, this is just normal from... I guess people say that. And they... like, went the path and decided to adopt. Like, okay, whatever. Paja raises her eyebrow, but continues. Well, there was poor Cal, practically falling asleep on the shift, forgetting his trousers half the time, and me with nothing to show for it but a glow on my cheeks. Clearly, we were both working with a barren field. Or faulty seeds, Cal adds. That pen. Does it run Does it run in the family? Okay, whatever. So we decided to find a child who needed a home rather than getting old trying to make one of our own, Paja says. That answer your question? Yes. I need more than adequately. I thought so, Paja says with a wide grin. We get asked this question a lot, and finally we found that being explicit about the process made the question just melt away. I suppose that is. Got what you asked for there, Alligator says, chuckling. What brings you here? Jerem likes it, Canner says. The stern expression around his stern eyes softens somewhat. We don't have much time between shifts, Paya explains, or money to spend on fripperies. So we bring him to the market when we can and watch him play. It's better than a night at the theater. Okay. Kano raises his clasped hands and kisses her bruised knuckles. That's it. Okay. That's great. You're a dumb kid. Can we talk with you? The child skids to a halt and rubs his forehead with a grimy forearm, leaving arrow tracks of dirt across his ruddy skin. Hey, Shua! He pants, shedding his eyes from the sun and grinning up at you. Never seen you before! You called me Shua? What does that mean? Huh? Jerem says. A cautious light enters his eyes. Really? You never heard it? Has that changed too? I have, but not since I was young, Alligator says, smiling at the boy. Kids are saying that again? When Jerem nods quickly, Alligator glances at you, his smile fading into his customary scowl. It's a slang for an older dialect. From an older dialect, kid. My grandfather used it when he was young. They would get outsiders coming from the village, dealing tough with the merchants, shoving kids aside as they went about their damn important business. Shuva, get it? Oh yeah, that is alright. A nervous blush colors his cheeks. It doesn't seem like he's afraid of it. Of Alligator, though. I don't understand. How can a place be so the same, but so not? Do you like playing in the market? Not always, but it's better than school, hey? And I like watching Zaufi make sculptures. The ones that go sharp and curly reminds me of the monsters on the side of Scarrow Hall. Scarrow Hall? What is that, a building? Yeah, Shuba! Jerem says, chuckling. It's just a building at the center of a town. A thousand hands tall, with a mural on the side like Zalfi sculpture, but flat. And and in purple rock. Don't think you're going to miss it if you're looking for it. Hey! Yeah, you will, Alger mutters, studying Jerem from the corner of his eye. Scarrowhall was a huge temple at the center of town, like he says. It was torn down centuries ago. Kid's either a liar or a carker. Why are you so dirty? I don't know. Paya and Calendar would make me wash twice a day. Guess that dirt likes me. Hey? Okay. Don't your parents worry about you running around here alone? Well, they are actually watching you. My parents? Jerem says, eyebrows kinkling. You mean Paja and Kalanor? They're watching me until my Mard and Cyro come back for me. Oh, really? What do Mard and Cyro mean? Huh? Jerem says, looking just as puzzled as if you'd ask him what hands are for. Mard, Cyro? My parents! You asked me about them. Paya and Kalanor are taking care of me until they come back. That's another one, isn't it? No wonder Paya doesn't like me talking to people. Awareness steals over Jerem's expression. He bites his lip as though he fears he has said too much and is trying to hold the rest of his words back. You keep using words I don't recognize. Where did you hear them? I'm not allowed to tell adults about that or about where I'm from. His gaze steals to Paya and Kalanor, both of whom suddenly taking a greater interest in your conversation. Don't ask, eh? I'm not so much in trouble, but I'm not even sure what I did. Oh, I have to see this, Tibir says, raising his eyebrow to the sky. Sure, a bright and promising lad, and he's already keeping terrible secrets from his elders. What? Jerem says, squinting up at him. No, it's not like that. It's nothing rancid. I just promised I'd stay quiet, right? Tibir gives you a barely perceptible jerk of his chin, urging you on. Okay. He's right, Jerem. You shouldn't be ashamed of the truth. Tibir nods, solemn agreement. You can't help noticing that he looks somewhat ashamed. Jerem waves, looking between his adopted parents and the two of you. Finally, he gives up. Alright, I guess I can tell, but you can spread it around, right? Alright, tell me where you're from. Here, Shua, he says, brow crinkling in frustration. I'm from here. I'm just up and changed without me. It's just up and changed without me. I grew up in the Downs. My parents lost their spots on the work chain, and we went to sleep hungry more and more. Neither of them could look at me cry without crying. He swallows. But everyone in the Downs was starving. Wasn't anything new. People started using the archway more and more. Pauses, scanning your face. The Downs have changed too. I can see it on his face. What are the Downs? Jerem sighs. If you weren't in the families in the up, everyone else was Downs. Inside the wreckage, we would dig deep, looking for food first, warmth second. My neighborhood was inside this curvy spiral. If you ever seen paintings of a seashell, it's like that. I knew it. What is wrong with this place? Tell me about the archway you mentioned. Big thing. Always good smells coming out of it, too. Like roasting meat on sunny days. I used to watch it, but I was never sure what it is for, you know? And the parents in the Downs never talked about it either. He shrugs without looking at you. And one morning I saw Korna, a friend of mine, and her Mard go up. Mard gives her a kiss, sends her through, and Korna never came out again. Know what did, though? Food? Bloody bones? God, Shuva, Jerem says, eyeing you with respect. If that were true, be a lovely story. But no, it was a matter of ring, he says, lowering his voice to a confidential whisper. It didn't look to be worth much, but every once in a while, you hear Corna laughing. Whenever she was happy, right? He raises his hands to his cheek and continues. Handful of days pass and my Mart takes me off for a walk. He said she'd find me where they saved the money, kiss me and push me through it. I woke up outside another archway up in Government Square. Paya and Kalendor were waiting for me there. Jerem rubs his nose. They're not so bad, but I keep hoping my parents will stop by to visit, even if they don't have the money yet, right? He pauses, rubbing at the sudden moisture in his eyes. I try to laugh a lot so they can hear me, though. Damn. So, his parents, like, in the past, sent him in the future, and now he got adopted. That's kind of the point. Okay, farewell, little kid, Jerem. It's good knowing that. Great story.
Why not?
But it's a good time to take a break, so hope you guys had fun. Tell me if you did, and see you around. And have a good one, guys.